Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And Justin is excited because we got the first full week of college football, and we'll get right into it. We'll get right into the biggest game of the week, and that is number 7, Notre Dame, traveling to College Station to face Texas A&M. Saturday night, ABC. It's going to be a crazy scene at Kyle Field in College Station. It should be a crazy scene there. And for me, for the game, I think it's going to be a close, competitive game. But I'm going to take the team with the more experienced quarterback, and Colin Wakeman is more experienced playing for A&M than Riley Leonard is. I think Notre Dame lost a lot on offense with Sam Hartman and Estime. I think they're going to struggle early. I think they're going to fight back late in the game. But I'm going to take the team with the experienced quarterback here. I'm going to take the team with the experienced quarterback, and that's why I got the Aggies winning in College Station on Saturday night over the Fighting Irish. But Justin, can the Fighting Irish spoil Mike Elko's coaching debut with the Aggies?
I don't think so. I got A&M in this one, 23-17. And when you think Notre Dame, one of the things you always think of is the offensive line. And their left tackle is supposed to be a senior this year. He's supposed to be starting. He's out for the year. So now they're down to 5 projected offensive linemen started in this game, have a combined 6 starts between the 5 of them. So, and all of them are freshmen, or either redshirt freshmen or redshirt sophomores, or actually their left tackles that's to be filling in now is a true freshman who's a 3-star. He's like 6'1", 290. Like and now you're going down to, Texas A&M on a Saturday night where that crowd's going to be electric. And the other thing is too, Mike Elko coached Riley Leonard last year at Duke. So I think Elko has the edge in that matchup as well. And sounds like Riley Leonard coming off the ankle injuries, 100% he'll be healthy. And I think, too, Connor Wegman can be healthy as well. He missed most of last year with injury. And I like Texas A&M bringing Colin Clyde, the Kansas State OC, the former quarterback there. He's really done a really good job. If you watch Kansas State's offense the last couple of years, the way they run the football, Texas A&M has not been great at that the last couple of years. So I think A&M is going to be better run the football this year. I think A&M on a Saturday night gets it done against the Irish.
The big question for Notre Dame is, do they need this win to get into the playoff? Do they need this win? Do they need this win? Because you look at their schedule, and Notre Dame's schedule is pretty easy. But does Notre Dame need this win to get into the playoffs? I do think if they go 11-1, they'll still get in. But say they lose this game and lose to USC. Does 10-2 get Notre Dame in? Does that get them in? Do they need to win one of these? Do they need to win the A&M game and the USC game to get into the postseason, or one of those two games?
I think 10-2 will get them in because we got to remember this is it's a reality show, and Notre Dame's going to bring eyeballs. So I think 10-2 is going to get Notre Dame in just because of their, because of the name. I don't think they're leaving a 10-2 Notre Dame out of the picture. I'd really have a hard time seeing that. So I think 10-2 will get them in. 9-3, then they're probably flirting with danger. If they lose A&M, Florida State, and USC, if they lose all three of those, I'd probably see them being left out, especially if there's a couple 9-3 teams that have some better wins. But at 10-2, being Notre Dame, I don't see them missing out.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. But seeing the landscape in college football, does Notre Dame need to join a conference? Because looking at the way the college football playoff is structured, they're never going to get a bye. So I think eventually Notre Dame's got to stop with this traditionalist thing. They got to join a conference.
I'm actually think it's okay for them because if they can find a way to get to the 5 seed every year, you either guarantee yourself the Big 12 or ACC winner every year. And then also being the 5 seed, you're more than likely getting the 12 seed. That's going to be the group of 5 team that gets in. So you're already kind of getting yourself to a chance to a semifinal every year if you could either upset that ACC or Big 12 team. So I think for Notre Dame, I don't think they're ever going to join. I think they love their independence. I think they love kind of the NBC deal with them. I don't see it happening unless if Stanford maybe joins the Big Ten as well, and there's somehow no more non-conference games, or there's like one a year. Yeah, maybe, but I don't ever see that not happening. So I don't think Notre Dame will, because I think they're okay with getting that 5. And the one who kind of was in favor of doing it structuring this way was their old AD who just retired, Joe
Schwarzak.
Yep, he was the one. So I think, kind of knows they can get the 5 seed every year. You feel pretty good about your chances of maybe getting the semifinal.
Yeah, definitely. Notre Dame, even if they lose this game to A&M, they still got a really, really good chance to get to the college football playoff. Now, moving on to another big game on Saturday, and that is Clemson and Georgia. And both quarterbacks are returning. I think Clemson stays in it early, but I think eventually Georgia blows them out. And I just think because Carson Beck is better than Cade Kublik. I think Carson Beck is better than Cade Kublik. And let's be honest, Georgia is on another level than Clemson is. Clemson is not a top-tier program anymore. They're a second-tier program. And Georgia is the new Alabama. They just reload every year. Even though they lost, Brock Bowers and their 2 best running backs, they reload every year. They're the new Alabama with the quarterback returning. I think they win this game. I think they win it. They win it convincingly. I think they end up winning by 3 scores. I got Georgia winning 34-17. But Justin, can Dabo somehow pull off a huge upset over Georgia?
I don't think so. I got Georgia 24-10. They're playing down there, Mercedes-Benz down there in Atlanta, so it's going to be a pro Georgia crowd. Again, I can't take the Clemson team seriously until they bring in transfers. Even though Dabo says, all the freshmen that come in are technically transfers, So that's how he likes to go about it. Garrett Riley, the second-year offensive coordinator, he didn't really get any power in that offense. It was still the old basic Clemson, no motion, nothing too creative. Does he get any more power to kind of some creativity? It sounds like they're going to want Cade Klubnik next year to use more of his legs, like they did with Trevor Lawrence, like they did with Deshaun Watson, like they did with Taj Boyd. I don't think Cade Klubnik is good enough. I don't believe in those wide receivers enough. And they could be down their 2 top cornerbacks. And if they are, even if they're missing one, they're good. The guys they're going to be filling in are true freshmen. That's even where you could use a portal to bring in another cornerback. Because, I just think Georgia up front's going to be a little bit better. Now, Georgia in this game could be missing their running back, Trevor Etienne. Travis Etienne, little brother that, plays with Jaguars. Some off the field issues during the offseason. So he might be out for this one, not completely sure yet. But I think Georgia comes in, it takes care of business like 24-10.
Now, looking at these 2 teams going into this season, we'll start with Clemson, and now with Florida State's loss on Saturday, do you now think Clemson's a playoff team? Do you now think Clemson could get to the playoffs with their quarterback returning this year?
I think it's possible now. They got to go to Florida State, which they didn't look great. Their other ones at home against NC State. Do not sleep on App State next Saturday night. That's a very good power group of 5 program. That could be a little scary for them for a half. But
didn't App State beat A&M last year? Or they beat someone big
a couple years ago?
Yeah, gotcha.
2 years ago, I believe. But yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. So again, App State, we know they're in for the dramatics. But like outside of that, Florida State's on the road. NC State, they should win the ACC. I think that Virginia Tech's going to be tough, especially if that's like
you got Virginia Tech winning the ACC.
Yeah, I do. So I'm high on them. I could see that as a loss, but yeah, like this Clemson team, they should be. Them in Miami, Florida State, you know, not great showings. And SMU, that is a dark horse in that. They did not look great either on Saturday. It's a horrible Nevada team. So I think Clemson does. I think there's some talent there. I just worry about the depth. And I just Dabo's just too stuck in his own ways. And I just think if they don't open up if they're more creative offensively, I think it will help out the team. I gotta see it to believe it first.
Now looking at Georgia with Carson Beck back, even though they lost Bowers, they lost their running backs. Should they be the number one team in the country? In my opinion, they should be, because I've said it earlier. They are the new Alabama. They're the new Alabama. They're the top tier program. They're in that top tier with Ohio State. I still put Alabama in that top tier, but not as, and I'm not as high on them with Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer did a great job at Washington, but I do think they should be the clear favorite because they cut the quarterback returning, and right now they are the premier program in college football. The last time they lost a regular season game was 2020. 2020 was the last time Georgia lost a regular season game. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And, that was a pandemic year where it was so, obviously with everything going on, that was just a crazy year in general. So it's been a while for this team. And Dick Saban's kind of been during the SEC championship game. That's been their kryptonite when they got to face a Tide. That's been their kryptonite. Now, obviously, Saban's gone. So, yeah, for them, I think Ohio State all around maybe a little bit better. But again, it's the quarterback question because I think there's more trust right now in Carson Beck than there's a Will Howard to win national championship game. And again, Carson Beck could throw up some big numbers, and Kirby will put it on teams. Even if they're 35-0 in the second half, I think he'll let Carson Beck sit there and throw the football around to try to get him some Heisman numbers. So, yeah, I think Georgia overall, they'll probably lose at some point because I just think, now you add Texas in the mix as a team, you gotta go there as well. I think they'll lose one in the regular season, but yeah, I do think all around wise, Ohio State may be a tad better, but I think the quarterback position, Georgia has the edge here a little bit. And again, there's more trust in Kirby Smart than there is in Ryan Day for winning a national championship as well.
And you hit the nail on the head. Ryan Day's lost three straight games to Michigan, and if he loses the fourth, he'll probably be out at Ohio State. Kirby Smart, he'll be coaching the Bulldogs for the next 15 years. If he wants, he'll be probably coaching the Bulldogs for the next 2 decades if he wants to, because he led them to 2 national championships. He led them to 2 national championships and got through a national championship game. So, yeah, I do think Georgia should definitely be the favorite to win their 3rd national title in 4 years. But we'll move on to the other noon game, and that's Penn State at West Virginia, a rematch of last year's opener. The Penn State won 38-15. Now, I think this game will be a little bit closer. Garrett Green is back for West Virginia. They got the running back too. But Penn State has their quarterback and Drew Aller back. They got Nicholas Singleton back. They got Kavion Allen back. They got Abdul Carter back. I think it's a close game early on, but in the second half, Penn State pulls away. I think Aller has a big game. I think they run the ball with success. I think Carter makes some big plays on defense. They force a couple turnovers. I think this is close early, but Penn State pulls away in the second half. I got Penn State winning 35-20. But Justin, can the Mountaineers get revenge on the Nittany Lions from what happened last year on opening night?
I think this is close down in the end, but I got Penn State in this one 27-20. Yeah, I think it'd be close. Now, if you're a Penn State fan, I think bringing Cole Denicky as your OC. I can't imagine you watched NC State Nevada last weekend. Nevada, with less talent, with less personnel, brought the Kansas offense to Nevada, and they gave SMU all they could handle, and they looked pretty good. And their starting quarterback was out, Chubba Purdy, who was Brock's younger brother. He's supposed to be the starter for Nevada. He's been hurt. If you watch them, I feel pretty confident you're a Penn State fan. Now, how much power does James Franklin let him have? I guess we'll see. But I think Drew Allard, can he make that next jump this year? There's some draft boards that have him being like the number 1 pick this year. I think that's a little too far, but again, I think he has the ability if it all goes right for him. My one concern with Garrett Grady, West Virginia quarterback, is he never throws in the middle of the field. He always likes to kind of go to the edge, goes to the sidelines more in the middle of the field. Can defensive expose that? Can the defenses kind of expose that and use that against them? We'll see. But I think West Virginia at home, that's usually a tough environment to go to. But I think being a new kick, Penn State gets out of there unscathed.
All righty, we got the Battle of Florida on Saturday afternoon at 3:30 as Miami. Miami heads to the Swamp to play the Gators, and I think this is going to be probably the most competitive game of the day. I think it's going to be the most competitive game of the day. I think it's going to be back and forth. You got Cam Ward with Miami and Damian Martinez. You got Graham Mertz with Florida. I think it's going to be back and forth. But I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going with Billy Napier and the Gators. I got Graham Mertz leading a game-winning drive, and I got the Gators upsetting the Hurricanes, beating them 34-31. Justin, can Cam Ward head to the Swamp and get and win his first start as the Canes starting quarterback?
I'm with you on this one. I got the Gators 31-27. Cam Ward is now the highest paid college football player of all time. $3.5 million he got NLL-wise to go Miami.
Wow.
They spent close to $20 million, Miami did. There's a lot of pressure on this team to get to the playoffs, win an ACC title. No 8-4 this year. Mario Cristobal, I think he said last week, he hired an in-game decision coach.
He's got to hire one of those after last year against Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Now, does he actually listen to that guy? We'll see. But the one thing in this one, too, and I tried to bring up last week, now with the new heads, the coaches kind of having the ability with the new headset, players can listen in, the quarterback can listen in on the helmet communication. Cam Ward's a guy who is very high risk. Is there, with their, does the OC, tell Cam Ward and a lot of other quarterbacks this year, hey, if they're in this look, do not make this throw. Can we see less turnover this year with something like that? Because we know college quarterbacks, they will make more mistakes, obviously. So could we see cut down on turnovers? Maybe that could help with Cam Ward in this game. But I think depth's going to be a huge concern because there's a 3:30 kick in the Swamp. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. I think Florida pulls it out. And I think for Florida, too, they got to get off to a good start because have you seen their last 5 games for Florida this year?
No.
They have a bye before Georgia. They play Georgia in Jacksonville. They go to Texas the next week. They host LSU and Ole Miss back-to-back, then at Florida State.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, they got Tennessee earlier in the year. They got A&M at home. So Florida's got to get to a hot start this year for Billy Napier to save his job. I think that's why they kept him because of that schedule. They knew that was coming up, and they didn't want a first-year coach to go through that gauntlet. But I think Miami gets this thing. I mean, Florida gets it done at home. I think they make the less mistakes in this one, and the Gators go 1-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really great game. I think it's going to be the best game of the week. I think it is going to be back and forth. It's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be the best game of the week. But we'll move on to the game in Vegas between USC and LSU. Now USC I think has a little bit of a home field advantage playing out in Vegas, but I think that LSU is the better team. I'm going to take LSU's talent. I know they lost Neighbors. I know they lost Daniels. I know they lost Thomas. But USC they lost Caleb Williams. So you got the top 2 picks. These 2 teams have the 2 top picks. They're not on those teams anymore. But I trust LSU. I trust Nussmeier more than what USC has at quarterback. Even though I like Lincoln Riley as an offensive coach, I think it's close and competitive. But I am going to take LSU 34-27 over USC. But Justin, can Lincoln Riley pull the big upset? Not big upset, but pull the upset in his opening game.
No, I get LSU as well in this one, 38-35. They should be a ton of points. This should be a fun one to watch Sunday night. I'm interested to see, it's only a pre-show here. Lincoln Riley finally has a defensive staff. He brought in D'Anthony from UCLA. Yeah, that did a heck of a job down there. He brought in North Dakota State's linebacker coach, North Dakota State, one of the best FCS programs. Really great, always really good defensively. He comes over. Can this team finally tackle? Does this team finally practice some defense? We're going to find out Saturday night or Sunday night. My one concern for LSU is their defense should be a little bit improved. They need another interior defensive tackle in the portal. They didn't get them. And they're it sounds like Harold Perkins have played middle linebacker again, which is mind-boggling. It's the same thing. I don't know why. Like Penn State did the same thing with Parsons. Why don't you saw what happened when he got to be an edge guy? He came into full force. So
that's what Penn State's doing with Abdul Carter this year. That's what they're doing with Abdul Carter.
Yeah,
an edge guy.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be huge help for Penn State. So, Garrett Nussmeier, the LSU quarterback, been waiting in the wings. He's a guy that could have transferred anywhere and probably started most places. He's waited his turn. They're really high on him. He should be, I expect him to play well. And Miller Moss, USC quarterback, played really well in that bowl game. Looked like the best USC looked all year offensively. Again, it's a bowl game. Louisville, I think, benched a lot of starters in play, but I would not be surprised to see Miller Moss be a Heisman candidate if USC has a really good year. But I do got Tigers in this one, 30-35.
Yeah, it should be an exciting game between those two teams. But we're going to get to the Thursday games. We'll start with North Carolina. Minnesota's offense, like the usual offense, and the best offensive player on the field. And that's why Mac Brown seems to get win. I say 24-20 over Minnesota. But Justin, can Minnesota pull the upset in their home opener?
Yeah, I got the Gophers as well here. Darius Taylor, Minnesota's running back. He's one of the more underrated running backs in the country. He's questionable in this game. Not sure if he's going to play it or not. I got the Gophers still winning this game though, 27-21. Max Brosmer come over. He's going to be better. Arthur Kalakis-Smith, who's at Rutgers now. I saw a ton of Brosmer at UNH. He does not have the strongest arm, but he makes really good reads. He's a decent runner. He's a really good leader. Really going to miss him this year at New Hampshire. I don't think their offense will be as good as it was last year. But I'm really rooting for the kid. I hope he's got a good year. I was telling you too before the show, PJ Fleck was flirting with the UCLA job. Usually that's not a good thing. His defensive coordinator left. So there's a lot of questions right now in Minnesota going on. If they don't make a bowl game, could he be out to PJ Fleck? Very possibly. USC in this one is going to be Max Johnson is going to be playing as well as Connor Harrell, who was the backup last year. So, I don't ever like when nobody's kind of taking that QB job yet, and you got to play bowls. So we'll see how that pans out. Their defense should be a bit better than last year, but I'll take the Gophers at home. Brosmer too was the runner-up last year in the Walt Payton Award, which is the equivalent to the Heisman at the FCS level. So, I think Brosmer does enough in this one, and Minnesota knocks off North Carolina.
We got one of the most successful FCS programs in NDSU against the program. It's not the best, but the program gets the most attention in the FBS, and that's Colorado. Ton of attention this week with the reporter and Dion having issues with the reporter. It's a circus. It's a circus out there. It's a circus out in Colorado. Yep. I mean, they started so well, 3-0, and then they fell apart, ended up going 1-7. Now, I think they're going to be better this year, and but we'll start with the game tomorrow. The big question, I think they win this game. I do think they win it. I do think Shedeur Sanders is a big game. I do think they win it by 3 scores. I think Travis Hunter is a big game. Shedeur Sanders is a big game. I do think they win it by 3 scores. I got to win it 38-20. But the big question is, Justin, what is the better chance of happening? Colorado getting upset or them covering that 10-point spread?
I want to say North Dakota State knocking them off, but I just think North Dakota State's got too many injuries. Their best defensive player, who's going to be drafted in the draft this upcoming April, he's going to be out for most of the year. North Dakota State's got a bunch of guys banged up. They got a first year head coach who's been around the NDSU program for many years, but I don't know how that's going to translate yet. But they're not going to beat themselves. We've seen Colorado beat themselves at times last year. North Dakota State, I don't think is going to do that, but I got Colorado winning by 14 in this one. Again, Shedeur is going to be really good. Travis Hunter, I don't believe in the depth there. The offensive line should be a bit better, but I'm not confident on it. But, we'll see. I think the Colorado team's going to be better, or a little bit better. I see this team winning like 5 games, but
wow.
5-7 year for them. I think they should take care of business in this one. But again, big one. They got it. Hopefully they're not looking ahead to Nebraska. I hope they got all eyes on North Dakota State here, because if they don't, they could very well fall short in this one.
Yeah, you're not high on Colorado saying 5 wins. I was going to ask, you think they're a bowl team? You don't. I do think they're a bowl team, and you probably think that them being ranked 11th is accurate. I don't think it's accurate. I think they're better than that with the quarterback returning, and Dion's still a good coach. He was in a brutal conference last year. He started off strong, but he was in a brutal conference. I think they'll be 7. I think 7 wins. I think they'll get 7-8 wins. I do. I have a Shedeur Sanders. I am more confident in Colorado than you are. So, but you like the fact that they were picked for 11. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I think it is accurate. Again, it's just such a good conference. Like, maybe you're not going to see the national title contenders, but there's a lot of good teams grouped together. You got the Utah, you got the Oklahoma States, you got Kansas still with Jalen Daniels, and again, Lance Leipold made Kansas a top 25 preseason team. Like that's not, that's huge for them. Iowa State should be better this year. Kansas State's always a threat. Arizona's going to be pretty good again. Like there's a lot of good teams in this league that I just think, and again, for them too, because of all the attention, because of the circus that they bring, they're getting everybody's attention. No, they're getting everybody's A game. You remember Dan Lanning's pregame.
They're fighting. They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins.
Yeah, that that usually doesn't happen for a team of Colorado's stature. Like they're it's like they're a Georgia or Ohio State, and Colorado doesn't have the talent or the depth to play 12 games that you're going to get 8 games from all 12 of them. I think that's where the major concern kind of is for me.
Yeah, I just think with Shedeur Sanders, they'll win more than half their games. And the Big 12 is not as good this year. Texas is not there. Oklahoma's not there. I know it's decent, but it's not that good. It's not that good, to be honest with you, the Big 12. It's not the Big 10. It's not the SEC. It's not even what the league was in last year in the Pac-12. So I do think they win more than half their games.
They got 5 on. They got five of their 8 conference or 9 of the conference games are against Kansas State, Arizona, Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Like they got one of the tougher games. And UCF, that game might total 100 points at UCF down there. UCF doesn't have a great defense. So, and again with Shedeur, yeah, he's good, but he ain't on the ball too long. He just sits back there, and your offensive line's not great. He's got to get rid of the ball quicker. Will they game plan around that? I don't know. Again, it's daddy ball. Whatever Shedeur wants, Dan will give him. So that's why they fired Sean Lewis, which is the biggest mistake that they made last year, to bring in Pat Shurmur, who, again, I don't love as an OC. But, again, they do have some talent. And, yeah, we'll see. They had a max exodus as well. So that's another thing. They had, I see like 30 guys left, something like that. Like, then he's only got 8 freshmen. Like, the plan I don't think is that he's going to be here next year. But again, if he somehow is, he's only got 8 true freshmen on this roster. So, it's not great. So I got like 5 wins. I don't love it. So.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Colorado ends up doing. But now transitioning to Deion's the team Deion played on in college that lost a big game, lost the opening college football game in Ireland on Saturday. They lost to Georgia Tech on a game-winning field goal. They now host BC on Bill O'Brien's first game on Labor Day. I think this is actually a closer game than people think. But I do think DJ's going to play a lot better than he did in the first game. I think Florida State's going to get the 30s. I do think BC's going to score points, but not enough. I think even though Florida State lost a lot of guys, they're the more talented team. I really like Bill O'Brien. I think he's going to turn. I think he's going to be good at BC. I think a Boston guy going into BC. I think this is a really good fit for Bill O'Brien. But I think it's going to be a tough game this week. I got Florida State winning 30-20. But Justin, can Billy O.B. pull the big upset in his first game as BC head coach?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I got Florida State 27-21. Again, the strength was I said it last week for Florida State. The strength was their offensive defensive line. I thought that's where they were going to win this game against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was better on both sides of the line. After that first drive, where Florida State made that thing look easy, Georgia Tech settled in and figured some things out. And DJ, last year he was better because they had that superb running game with Damian Martinez, and teams kind of froze in play action, and he was able to take advantage. I don't think the running games will be as good this year. And again, when somebody's in the pocket with DJ, he panics when there's defensive guys coming after him. And again, he's not great under pressure. You saw that again on Saturday. He's not a great vertical passer. You kind of saw it again Saturday. The Florida State linebackers did not play well. You got another runner in Thomas Castellanos, for Boston College Saturday. Again, Bill O'Brien, good offensive-minded head coach. Yeah, I think he's going to – for BC, the ceiling's probably like 7-8 wins a year. That's, I could see them being right around there most years. Probably not this year. But again, Florida State, the portal-heavy thing, this is kind of the issue. Sometimes it takes longer for them to gel. And I think this team, again, because it's in the ACC, I think this is like a 9-3 team now. I know I had them 11 team in the playoff, but it's not a playoff team. And I don't think maybe a little bit was a fluke, but Georgia Tech was a better team flat on Saturday. And, I think Florida State thought they could turn it on at any point and kind of blow them out, but that wasn't the case. And I think BC hangs around Monday night.
Yeah, I could see it. With Bill O'Brien, I could see BC hanging around. But that wraps up college football. But we're going to still talk about about college athletics because there were rumors this week that UConn could be joining the Big 12, and I think I do think this. The big question the next 2 years is UConn in this conference at the start of the 2026-27 school year. Is UConn going to be in this conference? And I think they will. Because it just helps the university as a whole. In football, you're going to get the TV money, which is going to help basketball because you're going to have money. Hurley's going to have money to buy players now. Because the thing is, the way college athletics is trending in the Big East, they're not going to have the same amount of money as the teams in the ACC, the Big 12, the SEC. They're not going to have that money. I think that they're going to be in there just because it just helps the university more. It just helps the university that they join the Big 12. So I think they are going to be in the Big 12 in 2 years.
I thought Friday, Saturday, it felt like it was a done deal. The longer it goes on, I'm starting to think that they're not going to get in again. Now, one, I am tired of them being in the circus of like they get rejected again by the Big 12. I think the plan for Brett Yormark that he's trying to make to the rest of the presidents is we're never going to be the Big 10 or SEC in football, but let's build the best basketball brand that we can. Because if UConn comes, Gonzaga's coming with them. And now you had them with an Arizona, with Houston with Calvin Sampson still there, with Baylor with Scott Drew, obviously you still got Kansas, Jerome Tang and Kansas State should be better this year. Like there's some massive brands that will be included in the Big 12 if UConn comes with them. So I think that's where Brett Yormark trying to go. I don't know if he's going to get the votes. I thought Friday and Saturday it sounded like he was, but I don't know because it sounds like they have like 6 to 7 definites, but there's still a couple that are on the fence about them. And again, the 7 years that help build up the football program to get ready for the Big 12 is going to help maybe convince some of the presidents, but I don't know if it'll be enough. The timing's weird with it, but I think we're going to know by Friday. Like, I think this whole thing's going to be done. We'll find out. But again, I've always been against it, but I get it for the athletics of the whole. It's tough to compete when you're only making, I think it's $6 million right now in the Big East, and you're getting 30 plus in the Big 12. So I get it. I get it for all the athletics and be better. But for a basketball thing, it's just tough it's tough because we saw what happened last time. But I think it's a totally different situation, though. You're going from the American to one of the top conferences in college basketball. I think Hurley is going to get even better recruits than he gets in the Big East. I think the recruiting is going to go down. You saw him almost leave. I think the recruiting, they're not going to be able to get with the NIL. I don't think he's going to be able to get the same players in the next 3-4 years than he got now. I think the recruiting is going to go down. And I'll tell you, if they don't get into this conference, I know they paid Hurley a ton of money, but if they don't get into this conference and say the Nets job is open in 2 years, I could see him going to the Nets. I could see him leaving and go to the NBA just like he almost did this year. Yeah. Again, I think whenever Tom Thibodeau or Missoula, for whatever reason, leads the Celtics, he's either going to be the next coach of the Knicks, Celtics, or 76ers. He's going to be one of those three. Whenever one of those three jobs open and they want him, I think he's gone. I don't think it depends if they're Big East or Big 12. Yes, I think it helps recruiting. The thing is, though, the Big East, obviously Big East here in the Garden. Big 12's in Kansas City every year. You're not going to have any of your contingents there. You're going to be on the road. Like, more than likely, you're going to be playing Kansas a Big 12 championship game with a pro-Kansas crowd. And again, I know Iowa State's pretty good at Texas Tech, but, like, don't fire me up on a Tuesday night like a UConn, St. John's or a UConn Seton Hall. I didn't mean not Seton Hall, but, I get it. It is better as a whole. It'll be tough. I wonder if they lose a little bit of the New York kids because you're seeing even Syracuse not pick up those kids. You're seeing Pittsburgh now. Notre Dame used to pick up the New York kids. Rick Pitino always at Louisville got the New York kids. You're not seeing those programs be able to get those guys anymore because they're not playing the Garden in the second week of March. So that's my one concern there. UConn would probably get a game or two there, at least a year. They try. But I get it as a whole. It is better for the athletic department because I think Big 12 is right now it's making like 30 plus a year for each school. So they're not going to get that immediately. They'd wait to the next TV deal, which again would probably be more, you would hope. So maybe it's 35 to 40 in that range, which would be great for all the programs. So I get it for that sake. But again, your travel costs go up now. Instead of busing everywhere, there's no place in the Big 12 where you're busing. Everything's a plane ride.
You're right about that. You're right, and yeah, you're and in the Big East, you're busing a lot, and yeah, you got the tradition. Even though they're not, it's not as good. It's not as like it's. UConn's probably going to win most of those games, but it's not as good as like UConn, Kansas, UConn, Arizona. It's the traditional matchups we've seen. The UConn, Seton Hall, UConn. That's why we were so excited when they got back to the Big East, watching these UConn, Seton Hall, UConn, Villanova, UConn, St. John's, UConn, Providence, watching these matchups, then going to the Big East tournament every year, and that atmosphere is awesome at the Big East tournament. That's something that you're really going to miss again if UConn goes to the Big 12 is the atmosphere at the Big East tournament. So yeah, you do have a good point of like not playing those local teams and not having that tournament in the Garden, not being able to play in the Garden for your conference tournament, going out to Kansas City to play that conference tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think this happened too because the Big East didn't get the deal's okay. Like I think they're gonna get like $6 million a year. But again, the thing that's killing it right now is if UConn leaves, there's nobody that you can count on right now to be a national title contender. No. Like you have to Rick Pitino. You got to be the guy. Like it really hurts right now that Nova and Georgetown are in purgatory.
And Pitino, that team got out at the end, but they missed the tournament. Yeah. They only had 3 teams made the tournament. UConn, Marquette, and Creighton. Only 3 teams made the tournament. More should have. St. John's should have made the tournament. Seton Hall probably should have made the tournament. And Kim English made it clear about Providence last year about how they should have made the tournament. So more teams should have made the tournament. But still, yeah, if UConn leaves, Big East is in big. I don't think you even consider them a power conference anymore.
Be tough. Nova's got one. Nova has one guy that Nova has to consider is an NBA guy right now. Billy Donovan. Like that because Nova, if they will beat Georgetown if they make another mistake higher. But so the Big East is definitely in trouble. UConn leaves, which would be sad for me. Being a college basketball purist, it sucked to see. Even UConn's not in there, so. Yeah, I get it. It's going to hurt to leave the Big East, so we're not coming back. It would be Big 12, and that's it.
That's it. It's over. Yep.
Yeah. Savor the next couple years being the Big East.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they go to the Big 12, there's no going back. There's no going back because the only reason that UConn they really didn't leave the Big East. The Big East. The name changed. The American was the old Big East, and then the new Big East was formed by all these Catholic schools, and then UConn joined that league. So. Yeah, if they go to the Big 12, it's over. There's no more Big. They will never be back in the Big East again because of the TV money they get from football.
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I've been holding out hope that the ACC blows up and you can make an Eastern Conference football league, and you're able to kind of get in that way and be okay. But the Florida Clemson suing of trying to get out of that conference, they had the grant of rights. Nothing's happened. It doesn't seem like anything is going to happen anytime soon. So that's kind of where maybe, it's going to be, maybe it's not going to blow up as quick as I thought. And, I don't want you to join that conference, but yeah, it's, they got to go for all of athletics. So that's the thing, but be difficult to swallow, but hey, it's going to be better for the athletic department, as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. It would be. It'd be tough for the fans who love going to the Garden every year. But yeah, but overall, if they do join the Big 12, it definitely would be better for the overall athletic department. You definitely are right about that. So we'll wrap up the show quickly talking about some baseball. And but the Yankees, I think the big story is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, what a week! What a week for Judge. Yeah, you had the 2 home runs on Sunday. You had the robbed home run on Monday. What a week! And the big question with Aaron Judge is, do you think this season is better than his 2022 season? And I think it is. He's just so locked in right now. He's been absolutely phenomenal. There's no question he's going to win AL MVP again. Yeah,
it is. And it's unbelievable years he's having because, right now, because he's batting in the 330s too. And the league average right now is like 240. So he's 90 points better than the league average right now, which is insane. And It's crazy teams are still pitching on them, but yeah, to have Juan Soto behind them, if you tell me Saturday or Sunday when they went back to back, back to back to back, saying like if he gets locked into those three,
I texted you. You got to have those three back to back to back. I don't get why Austin Wells was hitting fourth. I don't get it at all.
The lefty, righty, lefty.
Oh, please, with a manager that can't get to the World Series, please. I'm telling you, this guy. If we're, as I've said, if this team doesn't make it deeper in the postseason, this manager better be gone.
I totally agree with you. It's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be let's believe in the numbers 100%. Let's never use our guts to make decisions because that's how sports should be played.
No baseball team this year. The same way. Numbers. It's not working. There's not gonna be a team that's gonna win 100 games. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's crazy, and Milwaukee. It's again, teams are barely on pace to make 95 wins. It's insane. So it's going to be interesting, and the baseball is like this is probably the most excited I've been because in the American League and National League, it is so wide open that it's going to be a NCAA tournament. Anything can happen. So it's going to be a fun October. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely is going to be there. There could be like you look at the teams. I mean, you look at the American League, Yankees, Orioles. You look at the Guardians, the Royals, the Astros, the Astros. So that's 5 teams in the American League. I think that could win. And then you look at the National League. You got the Phillies. Can't count the Braves out because they're pitching. I don't give the Braves a great chance of winning it. The Brewers, their offense has been in this year, and you got the 3 National League teams. You got that all can win. The Dodgers, Diamondbacks are proving they were no fluke last year. That lineup's the best lineup 1 through 9, and then you got the Padres too. So you got like 10 teams that can win the World Series, which is crazy. And then with and as wide open it is. This is why it's important for the Red Sox to start picking things up because they're starting to fall apart a little bit here. They got swept to Arizona. They lost those 2 games to Toronto. The suspended game, which historic making game. Did you work that game where Danny Jansen?
I did not.
But the first ever player to play it in the same game from 2 different teams. That was pretty historic.
Yeah.
But looking at the Red Sox right now, 4 games behind Minnesota for the wild card spot. Is it time to count them out completely? I don't think so. But if they don't start playing well in the next week or 2, it is. This team needs to pick it up, or it's going to be a year where they're going to miss the playoffs. And we talk about how wide open it is. There is an opportunity if they get there as the number 6 seed.
Yeah, absolutely there is because they could steal bases. They put a lot of pressure. I know the bullpen's kind of a big question mark right now, but they got to start playing better. Diamondback series was tough because they blew a couple games. Toronto's, they won 7 of the last 10. Like they're starting to play better at the wrong time. Like they had to play like this early in the year to be kind of more in contention. But for Boston right now, and the tough thing is the Royals are playing well. We talked about the Royals schedule last week. They're playing really well. Like they're going for a 4-game sweep tonight against Cleveland, and they I know
they'll be in first if they win. They'll be in first.
Yeah, which is crazy. Cleveland was up 10 games on the Royals at one point, like a month and a half ago. So, for Boston, they got to start playing better. The bullpen's been an issue. They really showed this against, starting pitching Friday night was not great. So, for Boston, they really got to pick it up now because they're really putting themselves in danger of being 4 back right now. The Twins aren't playing well either. The Guardians haven't either. So it's still there for them, but they got to start taking advantage of those 2 teams not playing well because at some point, I think those 2 teams will turn around just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So the Red Sox definitely got to start picking it up, or it'll be another year where they miss the postseason. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. Justin will be out next week. It'll just be me. I will be in, and I will be giving you an entire preview of Week 1 of the NFL season. And I will be giving you an entire preview of Week 2 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All 4 Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.